Oh, yes. Another beautiful week here in the We the People Podcast Network. I want to welcome you to this week's Politically Correcting Podcast. My co-host, as always, Lavelle Lewis.
Gia.
Austin on the ones and twos.
Oh, hello.
Every time. It's awesome. Yeah. Everyone get your drinks out and let's toast to the ability. We don't let you know. We don't bring you in until we don't bring our guest in until
we got a guest today.
Yeah, we'll bring her in a second.
Yeah, there's no evidence. They don't know who it is. There's no way they could read the title, find that out.
Yep, you have no idea what's going on.
Nope.
Get your drinks out. Let's toast for the abilities for us to be able to have a drink with another person, have open and honest dialogue, and being able to walk away still being friends. Salud. Oh, that's a different sound there.
Somebody breaking the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, gin and juice.
Oh yeah, I got a rum and coke going
rolling
on over here.
Down the street.
I like that waterfall sound. We might have to implement that every time.
Oh yeah, lie. Yeah. You know, I got red Solo cups. Even if I have a beer, I'll
just need to patch up our guest hole in her lip.
You drip some more again? We might have to bring her on.
Excited. It's excitement.
Yeah. That's good. No, not yet. Not yet. All right. The verse of the week, James 1:4. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Let perseverance finish its work. That means you're gonna come across some things. You're gonna come across barriers. You're gonna come across obstacles. You're gonna come across heartache, loss of family, friends, love, all the above. But it says let perseverance finish its work. You have to go through those things in order to get to that final chapter of your life. But it's not just the final chapter because God promises there, not lacking anything. So let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete. You have to go through those obstacles. You have to become the person that you become later in life. It's not immediate. You have to understand that the way that your brain works is that it has to learn what not to do, essentially. That's how our fight or flight mechanisms work. So let it finish the work. So you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. God tells you, you will not lack. You will never be want for anything as long as your eyes and your heart is on him. You will never lack anything. So verse of the week right there. We're going to jump into, actually, yeah. I'm going to bring on after the, unless you want to say some things. If you ever want to say anything during the articles we're going to go through, you let us know and we'll just bring you right in. Of course, we're going to start with the daily COVID update with the New York State Supreme Court. Yes, baby. Yes. F yes. I'm trying to limit my swear words here. I'm trying to be a good example. New York State Supreme Court. Did you see this? What the New York State Supreme Court did? You had to.
Of course I did.
I hope that everyone out there, especially those living in New York, saw this. New York Supreme Court reinstates unvaccinated employees with back pay, mother trucker. Yes. Yes.
Bet those employers didn't think that was going to happen.
Oh, man. New York City mayor didn't think it was going to happen.
Oh, no. That back pay is serious.
Oh, man. Oh, can you imagine that beautiful check? Oh, man. And it's more than that. It really is more than that. We have to understand that it's much more than saying, ha, told you so. It's much more than saying, ha, F you. Because not only do we have vindication for people who chose their health, or what they perceive to be their health over this requirement, we got to remember those who fell for it, who took it because they wanted to keep their job, who took it because they didn't want to be ostracized from society, and who are dealing with the ramifications of the ever since.
The jab.
Don't think for 1 second that people who kept their jobs the entire time because they fell in line are not extremely pissed off about this, because now they're saying pissed off at themselves because they gave up their integrity. They gave up their ethics. They gave up their beliefs to accept a paycheck And I don't blame them. Look, this is not me, coming down on people who did it. You got to make a living for your family. I get it. But I know you're upset because now we're vindicated. Simple as that. We're vindicated. The people who decided the entire time, nah, I'm good, are vindicated. This freaking a-hole that works for the New York City mayor, Eric Adams, this is what his team truly thinks. This was, another expose by Project Veritas. Thank God for Project Veritas. I can't say it enough times. Thank God for Project Veritas, because they are exposing the true vile and evil that is in people's hearts. I don't care if they're pretending to be a freaking undercover gay brother. All right. Get the information from these people, because it says breaking: New York City Mayor Eric Adams official, someone who works for Eric Adams, reveals the admin has no sympathy for public sector employees forced out of jobs due to COVID vaccine mandates. He said they chose not to do a very, very harmless thing,
Allegedly.
thing, and ended with fuck them.
Your language.
Fucking deal with it. This is not me. This isn't me. It's New York City Mayor Eric Adams' team that speaks for him. That's what he said. We should have a swear jar, though.
Hey, once we do that,
It'll be a fundraiser.
Crystal clean, man.
Yeah, that right there. This is vindication. So it's not complete because there's still much more work to be done. Do not let the guard down, because there are still people out there who truly believe that everyone should be. What was the guy? What he said, he's gonna blow dart. That he wanted to go around blow darting vaccines into people.
Well, what about Don Lemon? Said people who don't vaccinate aren't allowed to go to the grocery store, restaurants. They should not be even allowed to, interact with society.
Right? Or get healthcare if they were to get sick, right, or fly, or travel, or
right,
buy groceries, have fun, live a life, have kids.
Bro, we got receipts on all that.
Yep.
We got receipts.
I'm not forgetting shit. Everyone out there knows. Anyone who follows me knows I'm not letting this down. I'm never, ever, I'm going to treat this like the Holocaust. You will never forget it. You will never forget it.
Be careful.
Oh yeah. We'll get into that in a second.
Be careful, bro.
Let's jump into local news, because I do want to touch on this. The blackface issue out in Webster. Did you see anything about this?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Well, blackface incident investigated at Webster Thomas homecoming game. So the game, you understand that they said it was a blackout game. Yeah. That was the theme behind it. I don't quite understand what that even means, besides not being on TV.
What my thing is, what does this prove, right? Like, we have young kids who decided to do something that we don't know whether they understood the ramifications or they did. Either way, I believe, especially when it happens at this age, this is a teaching moment. Them wearing blackface didn't put any fear in my, like, oh my God.
You're not afraid to go to Webster?
Oh my God. There's kids wearing blackface. But let's not talk about Howard Stern and a bunch of other Jimmy Kimmel, right? Sarah Silverstein, who went blackface, before Silverman. There we go. Silverman. I knew it was one of them, Silver something. They wore blackface, and they still have their show making millions of dollars.
That Karl Malone one was funny though.
Which one?
Jimmy Kimmel.
You never seen it? No, I never seen it.
Oh man, it was the greatest show on earth. It was called The Man Show.
Oh, The Man Show. I remember that.
Oh man, I had the whole DVD box set. I was toxic masculinity all day. I did not care.
Yeah, that was
when he did blackface and he pretended to be Karl Malone. I don't care what anyone says. That was funny.
I mean, listen,
that was funny. It was messed up.
The victimization that happens when, again, people become ignorant, they do stuff, and then they get a reaction from, a demographic that finds it offensive, right? There has to be some level of mental toughness and really call ignorance for what it is, especially when we're dealing with,
there's the picture there.
Racial situations like this. I mean, these are kids that, don't really understand the ramifications that they did. Now, what if they came and they just, I don't know, painted Hitler, mustaches on their lips, right? It'll be a different type of uproar. But again, it's still, to me, it presents an educational moment for the parents and also the community of Webster. Pull these little 3 kids aside and have a why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why
and was it blackface?
Yes, right. Was it that?
Was it blackface, or were you seriously thinking that you were blackening out your entire body because it was a blackout? I don't know. I have no idea. As a 14, I can't put my mind into a 14-year-old kid.
No.
Homecoming.
Now we know they probably watch a lot of porn. So who knows?
What? How did you hold on?
Allegedly.
Right. They have to.
Webster Schroeder kids they're going to church every day.
Oh, that's
but
no, I didn't react like in an emotional way to it. I just really thought it could have been an education moment. You got to ask questions too. You can't just react to every fucking thing you say.
Not everything is freaking racist.
No.
Not everything is racist, but they will make it out to be. Another local news, open air heroin market. Did you see what happened on Loomis Street? What the mayor did on Loomis Street. So the crews went in there, they cut back trees, brush to expose and clean open air heroin market on vacant lot. Now, I went through, we might be able to do this live here. Go on Google Maps, please. And pull up, hold on, let me see if I can find, pull up Loomis Street, Loomis. Go on to the street view. And you guys can, at home, you can do it as well if you really want to. Did you go to the street view?
Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Go ahead. It's Google Maps.
What was that?
That was a whole lot of
Let me clear my throat.
Sorry about that. I wasn't ready to talk.
Have mercy.
That's what it was, huh?
I hope you don't mind.
But if you look at it, do it at home on a computer. Because I can't even do it on my smartphone here. You can go through and you can see how that street looked. They're going to show you what it looks like right now. If you go to a street view here, let me show you what it looks like right now. I mean, you can see clearly that it's deteriorating, right? Mm-hmm. Well, right now there's a bunch of people that live there in tents. You can see some of the tents back there that was done, I think, last year, 2 years ago. That picture. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about people living there in tents on an open parking, grassy lot on Loomis Street. If you go back, because on Google Maps, you can actually pick the year that you want to find that street view. And if you go back and you go to the previous year that they had it, you can pick 2020 on there, and it is clean and beautiful. So we go from clean and beautiful to what you see on the map right there to a complete overgrown, just straight up open air drug market of both dealing and using. And the people on that street were just sick and tired of it. And they were calling it all the time. This is the Northeast District. So it's over on the other side of the river here. Actually, on this side of the river. I'm on this side of the river now. So Loomis Street is not that far from here. Open air drug market. The mayor said, we got to clean this up, man. People are we got kids that are getting dropped off on the school bus right there in front of them. They're seeing this open air drug market. We need to do what we got to do. Well, that was racist.
What?
That was racist. So the crews went through.
Wait. Isn't our mayor black?
Mayor's black.
Oh shit.
Allegedly.
I'm so confused. I am so confused, man, with this whole racist thing. This racist thing that got out of hand, bro.
Well, if you actually you got it, there we go. You got it right there. If you read the article,
what the hell is that?
It's someone bent over.
Is that a dope theme right there?
And look at that box to the left over there. That is a needle drop-off point.
Well, I want to say this. Remember back before the skating park was put together, that was a huge place for a lot of homeless folks were there. I mean, let's like really talk about it. We definitely are starting to have our homeless issue like New York City and
it's getting terrible. San Francisco,
San Diego. You know, a lot of this have to do a lot with, in my opinion, mental health. We're having our issue here. But what did we think was going to happen when you displace folks who are kind of hiding in the shadows. They filled in the didn't they fill in the subway?
Yes.
That was filled in. That was a place. And then you don't
Where all the graffiti and everything.
the graffiti, yep. And then under the bridges, a lot of those areas they're getting cleaned out. I mean, they're not gonna go. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
They're just gonna find another place to camp and do what they want to do. Because again, I don't know if it's mental health. I don't know if it's like they're the freest people in the world. But what do you expect? What are you gonna do now? Where are you gonna put them?
We're completely overrun. We don't have enough space.
Yeah.
For all of the people who are just going to be homeless, because we have a complete eviction thing coming up as well. We're going to be completely overrun. I don't know how else to put this.
We don't have the square footage for that. Is this leading into a society that we see like on TV, like, you know, these conspiracy movies where it's kind of like anarchy and
yeah, they're trying to,
you have a society that just lives out within the public,
bro. And no, not even, it's going to be under the gutter. That's where it's going to be. People are just going to live under the gutter because they're tired of the matrix up here in the real world. And then enough people get together, they're going to make a little underground network.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's the Matrix. It's the Matrix
man.
all over again.
That's
all it is.
That song by Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge, is some real shit.
I don't even know what that means.
Under the bridge?
I thought it was drugs. I thought it was.
Yeah, he's using heroin underneath the bridge. It's kind of like what they do.
Well, you want to see what else they do?
Oh, here we go.
This one's gonna get you.
Oh,
This one's gonna get both of you. I promise you. Let me show you what they think about the black vote. Can you pull up the first video, please? I'm pretty sure we discussed this part before. Let's go over two different ways and how they see the black vote.
Trade checks, I think we got one.
This is a new app.
No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. BLK app looking for some action. Swing the homie Scott was heavy. Face is a 9, abs a 10, D is a to be determined. He got mad jokes. He
saw his
don't
nails?
see bro. The only red flag is that he don't vote. This midterms for all the single cute. Wanna hit this booty, gotta do your civic duty.
Stop right there.
No love.
Okay, stop right there.
And I thought it was catchy.
If you want to hit this booty, you gotta do your civic duty. That was a dude with nails.
So I just want to know who created the application, first of all.
Probably George Soros.
Allegedly.
What in the entire mother F?
Mother Vuck?
Yes. What is this? And again, I hate when, you know, you try and shed light on being a pawn for the overall agenda, right? This right here does not scream empowering anything.
This isn't empowering you?
No, absolutely.
This guy with his sleeves cut off is not empowering you?
Yo, this is probably
that guy with the nails is not empowering you? Well, maybe if we fast forward to the Trina one. Trina part might be more empowering. If you want to go ahead and fast forward a little bit for that video. There we go. Sure.
Can't let me down, gotta stand up for something. No voting, no love. No voting, no touch. No voting, no nothing. BLK, we gon' stand up for something.
What?
Yeah, that's right. No voting, no love. If the coochie is the goal, go hit the pose. Period.
Oh God.
All right, we didn't even get to choose.
Damn.
All right.
Oh,
so
God.
that's how whoever it is that put that video together, that's how they view
Is
the
there
black
is
voter.
there a WLK? Is there a PLK? Is there any other race that's being presented out there that is this flamboyant, this I don't even know what you want to open about just homosexuality, which again, whatever you want to do in your bedroom, fine. Go at it. Have at it, bro. But this right here does not promote anything other than, I mean, this, we always talk about this. This is a spiritual warfare right here. This
Absolutely.
is not about empowering Black people at all.
So let's pull up the next video. Let's see how this other group, whoever it may be,
Where did this come? Where did you find this shit?
I tell you, you don't understand how much effort I put into this show to
God
find the most ridiculous
damn,
stuff.
that is bull.
So let me bring back.
God-fearing, God-toting patriots. I love the Second Amendment. God gave it to me. Not one politician, not one government legislation can take it
I'm a gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really maybe faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting, Bible reading, God believe in truth. Speaking American, it's MAGA season. Democrats committing treason, I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with. It's for free thinkers only, you ain't got no membership. They free, General Flint, out the cage, cause he innocent. Barton Roger Stone, cause the run know that he innocent. We need to kick out every single illegal immigrant. Mandatory voter ID laws we need to implement. Tell Justin Smollett that I know this MAGA country. Tell China we know they trying to play us like some dummies. I looked deep into it and I did the math. Why did Obama send money to that Wuhan lab? What is George Soros doing with all of his cash? Why did China take that Harvard guy and drop him a bag? Why is there so much propaganda funny, you ask? How about that Bill Gates vaccine? Now, sorry y'all passed, cause I'm a gun-toting patriot. God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Okay.
All red MAGA flags waving through the South like.
They are seriously like mind effing a lot of people on both sides.
Elaborate.
So you know, you got.
We're gonna bring in a guest on this one because I do want to hear,
please, because
you can speak on this, right?
Yeah,
you can
right?
speak on this. Kristine Demo-Vazquez, who is running for a family court judge, is in here to speak on some things. So jump in whenever you're ready. Go ahead.
Yes, I was
because I saw you bobbing your head too. You're like, all right, hold on.
And it's a huge contrast between the other one, right?
So who you think put together the first one? Was it a Democrat or a Republican?
Definitely Democrat. Definitely far left. Definitely, you know, an advocate for eugenics and all.
So who put together the second one?
Somebody,
I mean, it's MAGA. So I think that's pretty
conservative.
obvious.
You know, in someone that is all about preserving the rights of not just Black folks, but everybody. I think that the second video definitely did a good job with, you know, separating themselves from the ideology that a lot of African Americans kind of align themselves with, because they did vote for Biden, a lot of them, right? But at the same time, I do think that it will scare a lot of people, and they'll think that they'll call them extremists, they'll call them terrorists, they'll call them all the things, and it allows the folks on the left to kind of get away with that rhetoric about anybody that kind of supports, you know.
So that was
Second Amendment.
The beautiful thing that I saw was that he was. I'm a gun-toting patriot, right? And he usually, you don't want to see a machine gun or a assault rifle in someone's hand in a music video. But he's literally talking about. He's not talking about shooting his own people. He's not talking about shooting the cops. He's saying this is my right, and I'm gonna go ahead and buy another one.
But what that's gonna do to the left? It's going to completely bring out the I would say the former Dixiecrat, right? The closet racist who will see a Black man with a gun. Oh my God, he's such an extremist.
What do you think? You think he was an extremist? The Black man right there with a assault rifle flinging in the air?
I think the perception is going to be that he's an extremist. Sure.
Yeah, they've been doing it a lot.
But you see the difference of how they view the black voter.
Mhm.
One is no voting, no vucking.
Yeah.
And what was it? You can't get this ass if you don't.
Well, the far left is banking on the fact that there's a lot of, homosexuals out there that support their party.
Black homosexuals. This is no,
Yes.
there's no Latinos in here. I don't see no Latinos in here. I don't see no white people in this.
They are completely,
Right.
they are completely, catering to that demographic, that voting block that they're trying to hold on to. Because God forbid, if there is a gay black conservative that ever came out,
Stay
they
that
would
picture. Stand that
freaking
picture.
flip.
Does that picture right there looks like someone's going to probably take this part and take it totally wrong, but that looks like slavery with the neck chains on them.
Oh yeah.
Does that not look like it to you? It looks like it.
Bro.
I don't. That's what it looks like to me.
It's funny. I actually posted something about this on Facebook today and made that, that same connection. If you look at the rope, you look at the wrist bracelets, it is definitely designed to depict that slave ownership. And that's how this guy is able to get this platform, because he sold his soul, of course. Anyone that is so flamboyant to where they are put on this, given this platform to do that, you sold your soul. He completely sold his soul. He's a complete slave.
I mean, it looks like you guys got your sorry. Looks like you guys got your sunglasses.
30,
I know,
and
right?
his voice goes through changes. Happy birthday to Austin.
Thank you. But it looks like you guys got your sunglasses at the same place, though.
Look at that.
We definitely aren't built the same. We're definitely not built the same.
Just gotta click her button there. So being, I honestly, I'm gonna assume that you're running on, what line are you running on?
I'm running on the Republican and Independence lines.
Republican and Independence line. Okay, how do you target independents? Because I think that's what everybody is trying to target right now in the midterm elections, and that's the hardest, I would feel, target to do, because how do you know how they stand on issues? How do you, as someone who is a candidate currently, how do you target them?
So we go through the list of anybody who's a blank voter. We try to target them. It's really, from what I'm doing, is more of an education piece. A lot of people don't understand what the family court means and the
Please
impact.
tell them.
Yeah. So family.
Because I'm not gonna lie. When I first voted for Maritza Buitrago, I helped her in her campaign as well, and I'm still hurt that she lost. Like, I'm still hurting inside. Maritza Buitrago. She was a short, beautiful Latina, right? You just heard the freaking Latina voice out of her. She was just a beautiful person inside and out. She was just the most kind-hearted person ever. I think, actually, Edna, were you involved? Yeah, she came out and helped with the campaign as well. I think she works for the county family court, doesn't she?
She's a support magistrate, so she handles child support cases now.
But it's very hard for people to understand what family court, what does that mean to the average voter?
Yeah, so family court deals with issues of custody, visitation, child support, paternity, guardianships, adoptions, abuse and neglect cases, juvenile delinquency cases. So their family court is very unique in that it's dealing with families and children every single day. And in my opinion, it's the most important court, because family is foundational to everything. And so, we need to take that very seriously. We need judges who are going to take that position very seriously.
Do you agree that family is important to everything that's happening in this country right now?
I mean, it's vital. I do, however, want to know, as far as with a lot of the family court things that they do handle, child support being one of them, do you feel that is a necessity for all? Is it a one, fix all type solution, or do you find cases where people are kind of put in vulnerable situations where child support actually hinders their ability to be a parent?
So I think, it really depends. Obviously, as a judicial candidate, I can't talk about the law that would potentially come before me, but child support in New York State is set by statute. So it is what it is. The judge has very little discretion, although there are factors that the court can consider when determining how much they're going to award if there's going to be a deviation factor. But it really is, if there's one child, it's 17%, two kids, it's 25%, three kids, 29%, and it just kind of goes up from there. So again, the court just has limited ability to deviate on that. And I think where the biggest issue of a deviation comes in is where parents have a 50-50 split. And so the law says that the person who makes more money is responsible for paying child support. And so you have situations where you have a parent who has the children 50% of the time, but they're still paying the full amount of child support. And so as a judge, you need to look at what are the circumstances of that particular case. And something that I think is important is looking at, again, there's factors to consider, but looking at the facts and circumstances of each case to determine whether that's fair and reasonable.
So two things that pop up out of that conversation, which I got to try and make sure I ask questions that you can answer, because as a judicial candidate, you're very limited in what you can answer.
Yes.
In my opinion, you're running to represent the only entity that has, statistically speaking, single-handedly caused more heartaches and child support for men than the entire Kardashian family combined. So the family court, to me as a man, is completely biased against men and has destroyed the family. You said there's no kind of leniency, or there's no way that you can really deviate from what the law says. So if, as a man,
there are ways that the court can deviate. So for the most part, when people come into me and they're looking for advice on child support cases, what I typically tell people is, again, child support is set by statute. It is what it is. The court is going to calculate their presumptive amount based on their gross income, less FICA and Medicare. But when there are situations like a 50-50 split or other extreme situations, the court can deviate. But in my experience, that is less of, it doesn't happen as often as people would think that it does.
So do you need a lawyer to try and get that judge to deviate? A lawyer that knows that judge? Maybe this is probably nothing you can answer. If we wanted to change that statute as men, if we wanted to stand up and say, look, New York State, is it New York State or is it federal government that needs, or Monroe County who dictates the 50-50 thing?
So the
27% for whatever amount of kids.
Percentage, yeah. So that's set by statute. So New York State.
So New York State. Okay. So if we wanted to go to our New York State representatives, those would be the people who we can go to and say, look, you talk about equity. When a parent shares 50-50, I don't want to say ownership of a child, custody of a child, to me, that's just crazy to me that for the most part, the man still pays the vast majority of the time.
I mean, it depends on who's the moneyed spouse, right? So in a true 50-50 split where, the person who makes more money is responsible for paying child support, it's not always the man. I represent mothers, fathers, grandparents, custodians, children. So it's not always the fathers who are paying that. It depends on who's making more money. But there is recent case law that says that the person who makes more is responsible for the full amount of child support. So it's not necessarily a thing that's been going on forever. Courts deviated a little bit more when there was a 50-50 split.
Okay.
But since this new appellate division case came down, I think earlier this year, it really limits the court's ability to make those deviations.
I am very, very interested in this topic because I think when it comes to child support, I mean, child support is not like an age-old responsibility, right? It was created by the federal government, correct? Was the Family Cares Act or something like that? That's where it comes from. So it's a federal law that was created for people who were pretty much making babies and just deserting their the mothers, right? And crossing state lines, etc. That's why the federal government created it.
Escaping their
responsibility.
Right.
And then they left it up to the states to collect. So is it true, though, that for each dollar that a parent pays into the system, the state receives a kickback? Is that true?
No.
Okay.
No.
I did hear something about that as well.
I heard something about that, right? Like
I think it was like TikTok or something like that, though.
For every dollar that you pay, the state gets paid because they're collecting for you. Because just from a lot of other folks who
are like PayPal.
Yeah, they weren't getting the full child support payment that the fathers or mothers were contributing or paying. They were getting a kickback because they're either on social services or again the
So if
collectors.
Yeah, so if somebody is on social services, then that's a different story. That money can go back to the county. So the parent gets a portion of that, but then the rest goes to the county because the county is supporting that family through various social services mechanisms, right? But if it's just a regular child support case where you have a W-2 wage earner, the parent is receiving that money, I think that there's maybe like a $50 administrative fee a
Mhm.
year. But other than that, the parent receiving the money is getting that entire
Administrative fee to the state.
administrative fee to the support collection unit who is administering the funds, the direction of the funds.
So, I mean, it seems to me that this position is a no-win position. So why the hell would you want to run for such a position? Like, what the hell?
Well,
What is drawing you to this?
So there's a lot more involved in the family court than obviously child support cases. In fact, child support cases typically will go to a support magistrate unless there's a willful violation or a paternity issue, something like that, then it can be referred to a family court judge. So it depends on what the circumstance is, but there's a lot more involved in the family court. And for me, I have been an attorney for more than 18 years, and I've realized that I can only do so much as an attorney. The real change comes from the person who's making the decision, the judge. And so I think it's really important having represented everybody. So mothers, fathers, as I said before, mothers, fathers, grandparents, custodians, children. I've handled every type of case that would come before me as a judge. And so it's really important that we have judges who understand the complexities of the family court system, who understand the emotionally driven challenges of family court cases, and who are making decisions based on the facts and circumstances of that case.
You said you've been an attorney for how long?
For more than 18 years.
More than 18 years in the private sector?
So I started my law office in 2005.
Okay.
So
you want to go
17
from
years in that.
You want to go from running your own life to working for You're crazy to me. You're just making yourself crazier to me.
Yeah, it's hard to be self-employed. People say, "Oh, it's great to be self-employed," and I've loved being self-employed. You have, the ability to change your schedule to do the things you need to do, but it's also, I work probably 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like being a judge is really important, and we need judges who really care, who want to make a difference, who are not just doing that because it's another case or it's their retirement or whatever the case may be. We really need, having been in the family court for 18 years, we really need judges who are going to listen, judges who are going to be prepared, judges who are going to follow the law, and judges who are going to make decisions based on each case that comes before them. Because again, the family court is very different than other courts. You have to look at each particular case so that you're making decisions based on the best interest of the child.
So 18 years of being an attorney, that means you started right after high school because you're like 36 years old. So talk to us about how you got into being an attorney. What drew you to that profession?
So when I was in high school, I attended a BOCES program. I did a criminal justice program, which was a half-day program. In high school, I went to the criminal justice program half day. And one of my teachers, or my first teacher, was an attorney. And I just loved it. I loved hearing the stories that she told, everything that she just stood for. It was just very exciting to me. I was not a great student. I had, I hung out with, the not so great crowd, but I've always tried to help people, even, my friends that were doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I've always tried to be the person who, well, let's do this or let's do something different. And so it's always kind of been in my heart to help people through situations that they're dealing with. And so the family court, really, I knew when I wanted to be a lawyer was when I was in high school and probably 11th grade. That I wanted to do family court, but we didn't have money growing up, and my, parents, nobody that I knew was a lawyer. So I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was a teen mom. And so I was a single mom for a long time. When I went to I went to MCC for 2 years, then I went to Brockport for 2 years.
Okay. So you're from Rochester.
Yes. I grew up in Henrietta. Got my bachelor's degree from SUNY Brockport. And then again, it's kind of the same thing. I was like, I knew that ending towards that I wanted to go to law school, but I had no idea how I was going to make that happen. At that point, I had, a little kid. When he was 5, he and I packed up and moved to Boston. We didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends there. I was doing the part-time school program. I've always worked. I had to work through college. So even in Boston, I, was working part-time and probably closer to full-time and going to school part-time. And so, I had a 5-year-old who was just starting school, and, he probably will kill me for even mentioning these things, but it was tough when you don't know anybody and you don't know, I give the example of, when the time I was stuck in Boston and, couldn't get, through the train, or there was just traffic or something, and he's getting out of school and I'm trying to figure out, how am I going to get to him on time to get him out of school? And so, it's just things like that you don't realize that you're like, it's really hard when you don't have anybody there or anybody who is, who's going to help you through those times. So it's a really challenging time. A lot of people throughout my life, even in high school, told me I wouldn't graduate high school. I could never make it through college. I could never make it, through law school. And then, you'd never make it through the bar association through the bar exam. And so I feel like I've had all of these people in my life tell me that I can't do things. And looking back, at the time, you're kind of like, maybe I can't. And then I've always just had this like fire in me. Oh, you tell me I can't do something,
right?
I'm going to do it. And I'm going to figure out, I'm going to make it happen. And so, that's just kind of how everything has happened for me. It's never been easy. I've never been handed anything. I've had to work for everything that I have. And even starting, the businesses, we had times where, my kids are sitting in the conference room and, building a tent in there so that I can do the things that I need to do.
So being a single mom, would that create any kind of biases in your mind to say this, when you see a single mom in front of you, I hate to say biases, but, you see a single mom in front of you, you see that she's struggling. How do you connect with that person then and not allow your emotions to overtake your job to be, even keeled about everything?
Yeah, I think that that's the uniqueness of me. I think that I'm really good at separating those things, but I'm also really good at having empathy and compassion for people. So not only, I was a single mom for a time, I was also, my husband and I have 5 kids, and 3 are my biological and 2 are his. So we're a blended family. So I was a stepmom. We were
7 kids?
5 kids. Well, 5 kids that lived with us.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't mention the other 3 kids at this point, although they're very important. But we had 5 kids that lived with us full time.
Gotcha.
My mother has always lived with us. My dad died, and my stepmother wasn't doing well. So we brought my stepmother to live with us. And she both married to the same man at some point in their life. And so, and then Peter's dad died and his mom wasn't doing well. And so we brought her into our house. So for like 10 years, we had 3 mothers that we were caretakers for on top of, 5 kids and everything else we did. So I think that I have a really unique perspective that I can understand a lot of different issues. And there's nothing, I don't judge people. I've been judged all of my life. And obviously if I'm a judge sitting on a case, I have to make decisions, but that doesn't mean that I'm judging you as a person, right? There's circumstances, the judge has to make a decision, but I'm someone who is going to look at everything and not just base it off of, well, you're having a bad day, so we need to make this decision this way today. I think it's really important to look at all of the circumstances of these types of cases. And again, the family court being very unique and very different. But all of those things are important. And I think my background leads me to be the type of judge that I think is really important and that can make a difference in people's lives. And again, not just go in there as, well, I'm a judge and I'm going to make the decisions and, I'm let's move this case along onto the next case. That's not how I am. I think it's really important to hear people. I think people need to be heard.
I wish the judge on what's his name? Darrell Givens. I wish she would just push him along and say, shut up and sit down. Have you been keeping up with that? Have you been keeping up with it? The guy that ran over the Christmas parade?
No.
He's literally in court defending himself.
Really?
Like he refuses to get an attorney and he is just acting a damn fool. A damn fool.
I
haven't heard that.
Oh
I
man,
haven't
I
heard
don't think a lot of people are. I wish I didn't spend so much time on it. But after that story, you talked about how you talked about how your parents, your step parents, your mom, your stepmom came in, lived with you.
Mhm.
I feel more for Peter as the man of the house, because man, I know Peter. So do you know how I actually met Peter?
I do
Your
not.
husband. Let
I
me
do
tell you the
not.
story here. And I always think it's funny because WXXI has always been funny to me. So after the 2016, sorry. After the 2020 election, WXXI came on, I'm sorry, they had myself, two other Democrats on, and they had Peter on, right? And they were asking questions to understand the Latino vote. Why did Latinos vote for Trump more than they voted for Biden? And I'm sorry, the first question was, do you think President Trump is a racist? It's 2020 election. He lost. Like there was no reason for this kind of question anyways. And the two, more left-leaning Democrats were like, yeah, of course he's a racist. He's a disgusting human being, yada, yada. And I come on, and usually the expectation on WXXI is that they're going to have 2 or 3 people against the one conservative or the one moderate. It's always is the way. It's always that way. Trust me on that. And I get up to answer my part of the question. I say, no, I don't think he's a racist. I think he's an old, rich, white guy. Like, he lives in a completely different world than us. So he just acts differently and he talks differently. He probably talks to you in more of a curt manner than what you're expecting, or he talks to you very honestly or whatever it may be, but it's not in a racist way. It's just a totally different level of income way. I was like, if anything, Biden is the most disgusting racist I've ever heard in my life. I mean, he talked about a racial jungle. He's talking about freaking black people coming out and killing his wife and his mom and blah, blah, blah. Like he has said some disgusting things. And then they go to Peter. And he's like, all right, Peter, what are your thoughts? And he's like, I agree with everything Jose said. And it was essentially like that the entire time. Because then the next question was, why
that never happened. He just agrees with everything.
Well, he had his own words, but for the most part, it was like me and him pretty much agreeing on things, because it was really, the interview was really an attack against Donald Trump. And I'm sitting here saying, President, Biden, who had just won that election, I'm sitting there like, he's not what you guys think he is. I didn't vote for either one of them. But the other question was, why do you think so many Latinos, or the majority of Latinos, voted for President Trump versus President Biden? And my answer, I told him, I was like, I think you're asking the wrong question. I was like, your question should be, why didn't they vote for Biden? I was like, they voted for Trump because he oozes machismo. In the Latino culture, you want a strong man, even if he's a complete jerk, right? My wife loves me because I'm a complete jerk. At least that's what I tell people. But we ooze machismo, right? That's what they love. And with Biden, I was like, I'm be honest here, they just don't like old white guys sniffing on little kids' hair. And oh man, you should have seen the quiet levelness of the interview. So that's how I met Peter, was getting to an interview about why Latinos voted, or how they voted in the Trump Biden thing.
I thought you guys knew each other for a while for whatever reason. I don't know. Interesting.
No, that was after we had that interview. I called somebody. I was like, hey, I need Peter's number, because I think we should have lunch or something like that. And we went out for lunch, had a nice little talk, and that was it.
Surround yourself with like-minded people. Yeah. At least Trump had a black girlfriend.
He did.
Biden never.
He had a black maid.
A maid? Oh,
no, I don't know. I made that up.
Probably tended to his yard.
Yeah, I don't know,
etc.
She probably wore a mask the entire time.
I want to ask you, just as far as with a lot of the changes within the family dynamic, right? A lot more families are separating and splitting up and stuff like that. What is your opinion on parental alienation, and how do you get to the bottom of it and find the truth about what's actually going on within a situation? Because I think just nowadays it's not being talked about enough, and words like narcissism and stuff like that is starting to come out. How would you kind of navigate through those type of situations and circumstances?
So as a judicial candidate, I can't talk about what I would do how I would handle a case, but as an attorney, I can tell you that what I do is I tell people that they always need to build their case. They need to be preparing for any case that may potentially come up. So that may mean keeping a journal or a log, keeping text messages, documenting everything that happens. It's really important. You don't know when you're going to need that. And it's going to be more important to the court if you've been documenting as it's happening versus documenting in preparation for court or preparation for trial. And so I really think that you need to build your case, and you need to figure out what are going to be the biggest components, or figuring out, what are going to be the biggest issues to address that. And I think, as any judge is going to listen to the facts and circumstances. I keep going back to that, but family court, you need to listen to the facts and circumstances of the case. And I always think it's important to look at the holistic approach. Well, what can we do to help this family? Even as an attorney, I try to help my clients. It's more than just, all right, I'm representing you, here's what you should do. Well, I want to look at long-term solutions so that people are not coming back to the family court system repeatedly. Obviously, the system is there if that's what they need to do. I've had lots of repeat clients. And so, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but my go-to is always going to be to try to help families get to the point where they can not, where they can make these decisions and not have to keep going back to the system.
Takes two to tango, right?
I don't know.
It should never, I don't think it should ever get to that point, right? Like, the only reason I think that happens is you have there's one side that just doesn't want to lose and just, wants to kind of make the other one look bad. And I think that's another pandemic, right? Like,
I think that's both sides. I think both sides want each other to look bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's
crazy.
It's and people need to understand. I said on my dog walk talk, we're not fighting against each other. It's not Democrat versus Republican. It's not, left versus right. It is just plain evil. There's evil in this country at work. Someone said it best. They said that United States, I've always said that United States our Constitution is a great example of what could be, right? What could be for a nation based on individual rights. And it's a great example. We're trying something new, right? And someone said that it's the only country that's based on biblical principles. It's the only country based on God-given rights, not just individual rights, but God-given rights. And that's why we're seeing so much evil being done in this country, evil against, our children, evil against those who believe, evil against, those who simply look to others for guidance, and those who have the guidance are taking advantage of those people because they have that power and they want more of it because they crave it. Once you have that power, you crave more of it. And that's why our federal government again came out with the, COVID emergency extension. Like, what emergency are we in for COVID that we need to extend it? And that's only about power. Crazy is, so you're on the campaign right now. Did you see what happened with Marco Rubio? Can we pull that up, Austin, please? What happened with Marco Rubio and one of his volunteers?
I have not.
All right, so Marco Rubio posts, last night, one of our canvassers wearing my t-shirt and a DeSantis hat was brutally attacked by 4 animals who told him Republicans weren't allowed in their neighborhood. He suffered internal bleeding, a broken jaw, and will need facial reconstructive surgery. This is a problem to me because, well, on just a human basis. But so we've seen this attack. We've seen that young man who was ran over by another guy because of his political views. Can you tell me the last time you saw a Democrat get beat up on a campaign trail for being a Democrat? If this guy was wearing a BLM shirt, would this be all over news? Because I guarantee you can Google search it right now. Google search Marco Rubio canvasser attacked. And I guarantee you're going to see only maybe 3. You're going to see the usual far right conspiracy theory websites, right? The mainstream media is just not picking it up. They're not talking about it at all.
Well, can I make as the resident liberal, I guess.
The USA Today?
Yeah. Let me make a counterpoint.
Go ahead.
Yes. Until I see some more like evidence, this all sounds
very evidence.
Yeah. This all sounds a little Jussie Smollett. Yes. That is maybe so. Maybe the media is a little gun shy about this sort of this sort of story.
Were they gun shy about Jussie Smollett?
But no, which is why when it blew up in their face, maybe the next time
we'll be a little more smoother with it.
That's you know what, I'm just throwing that out there as a possible
Maybe
give them some evidence.
I'm gonna push back a little bit.
Okay,
Ted Cruz.
Oh, okay. You want me to pull up the?
Yes, please. You see what happened with Ted Cruz?
Yeah,
he went on The View, which anyone with common sense would say The View is the most far left, ridiculous feminism freaking show ever.
If I want to puke, I'll watch that show.
Right. I've never watched that show. I would watch clips because I like to see how crazy they get. But Ted Cruz, this man shows machismo. He went on The View. He went on the show that he knew that they would hate him.
Don't he look like the Count from Sesame Street?
Yes, of course he does.
1, 2.
Well,
3.
I'll continue another counterpoint then.
Go ahead.
I feel like it's more likely for like Ted Cruz to find resistance on The View, like from the View's audience, than like some Marco Rubio's canvasser to like stumble across 4 people who are so extreme that they attack someone on the streets.
You're believing that this may be a setup.
It's a hoax.
Yes,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, like man, it's a lot of like. In fact, what did they say? It's like this is MAGA country, except what's the opposite? What did they say? Oh, we don't allow Republicans here.
Yeah, we don't allow Republicans.
Yeah, in our neighborhood.
So okay, so let's go with that. How much would you need to get paid in order to get beat up like that, where you get a broken jaw, facial reconstructive surgery? If I said, you know what, I'm gonna go with this. If I said that I would pay for your student loan, might that be the answer there?
Well, not me. I actually also did a 2+2 MCC.
Oh, you guys are smart. See, that's why you're an attorney. That's why you get paid on the show here.
Yeah. So
I'm just
my
an
student
idiot
loans
behind
are
a
actually
freaking-
not that bad.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. If they said they would pay for my student loans to get beaten like that, where I get internal bleeding, a broken jaw, and need facial reconstructive surgery, no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. It would need to be so absurdly over the top of a payment for me to be in that situation. But I'm not saying you're not wrong.
You're
saying also, wait for more details to come, and maybe if there's a video,
right?
Or hopefully there is a video.
Just, evidence, because more evidence than is currently presented.
But what I'm trying to show here is how Republicans are being treated out there in the world versus, I don't want to say versus Democrats, because I distinctly recall when Democrats would go to a Trump rally and they would start yelling at Donald Trump at his rally, right? They would take them out. And Donald Trump said, back in my day, we would do what they did to that kid.
Well,
but they never did.
Yeah.
They just took them out and said, no, you're not here for the right reasons.
Well, let's stop fronting like the left didn't organize the entire bull crap we saw.
They
entire
did, and that came out. Did you see that? I totally forgot about that part.
Let's not act
They
like,
talked about how they paid people to go into the Trump campaign while he was campaigning and to cause a commotion, to stir up drama. They paid them. And on top of that, the BLM paid protesters to go into these different cities and be the frontline workers, like be the people who puts together the whole thing. This is not a conspiracy theory.
It's a fact, bro.
There you go. Not a conspiracy theory anymore.
No.
People said it all along that they were being paid to protest. The BLM had to give up their tax returns, and lo and behold, when you give up your tax returns, you show who you paid. And when you show who you paid, you get a phone call by Candace Owens saying, hey, what is it that your company does? I would like to pay you $100,000 to do exactly that. And they say, oh, we provide guidance on protests, and we provide people to come there and show you exactly how to do it. This is out there. This is not hard to find, but I think some people just don't want to look. They don't want to know what is happening behind the scenes.
No.
And this is not, this could be on both sides. I don't doubt that it's being done on both sides but it's very much happening from the left, because the Russian dossier was a complete hoax. The Russian spy, everything was a hoax about the Russian and Trump, about them having a tape of him peeing on a prostitute. That was so salacious. People loved it. They jumped on that.
Yeah.
Not a single shred of evidence. This is where we are as Americans, that we will believe the most ridiculous things just because we hate somebody. We won't look at the facts. We won't. And you're absolutely right, Austin, about let's see what happens with this young man here that states that he was beaten up. You don't know. He's wearing a Marco Rubio shirt with a DeSantis hat. Damn, dude, you're double dorking there. You're Republican out.
The photos is just timely being taken.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
I would hate to believe that, but you're absolutely right. I mean, Austin, the liberal freaking token guy we got here may be accurate on this one.
Desperation will make you do crazy things. I don't know how we kind of create or bring about balance within, politics, and especially within the judicial system, because now we have,
I'll tell you how,
liberal, judges out there that they can't tell the difference between a male or a female, right? Like we are supposed to kind of keep a lot of this stuff separate from our judicial system, right?
Let's ask our candidate here. Is there a difference between male and female? Sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
It's pretty easy, pretty simple.
Is it easy definition to understand what a woman is versus a man?
I think so.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
I think so as well.
But just going back to the protesters and the Black Lives Matter
what happened
organization, bro? They got paid for rioting.
Yeah.
They got
to destroy. Not rioting, not just rioting. Destroy.
How much money it would take to organize thousands of people in particular cities to sit on Jefferson and Dr. Samuel McCree with cameras around? Like, it was a big, huge festival. They had music, tents. You know what I mean? Like, who
pallets of bricks?
Yeah. Who organized that?
And then on top of that, putting those same people into schools as teachers.
And now some of them sit on city council. Not to, stir up the pot a little bit, but again, all of these things were, I think, strategically financed at the top level. They tried with Juicy Smollett.
Allegedly.
Right? Like, they were trying for the triple threat.
Right.
Black, homosexual, Democrat.
He was, it's because he wasn't voting, so he got bucked. So what President Biden told our country is that if people like you win, pull up the article about if Republicans win. What did Biden say? What did he say was going to happen? Which I did bring up. Go ahead, press that freaking conspiracy theory button again. If you follow the wonderful Politically Correcting podcast, you would know that I brought this up before about how if Republicans win this election and they take over seats of the Senate, maybe take over seats of the House, whatever it may be, that
I just read the comment.
That the Democrats, that they're going to finally allow this country to go through the recession that they claim that we're not in. But it's not going to be what we've been going through. I promise to you that if the Republicans do win, the economy will crash. I agree with President Biden. What I don't agree with was what he says. As recession, can we grease this thing? As recession fears weigh on midterms, Biden warns Republicans will crash the economy if they win control. The Republicans won't crash the economy. This economy is hanging by a freaking thread. Less than a thread. Do you think there's any reason right now why this economy hasn't crashed quite yet? With the infrastructure bill, with the Build Back Better bill, with the Green New Deal bill, with the Inflation Reduction Act. How much more can our government spend where we are not spending our own money, but getting further into debt, credit card debt, student loan debt? Your debt likely will not get, your student loan debt will probably likely not get waived because they're in court right now. How do you think we were hanging on a thread already? Do you believe in what I say that if the Republicans do win, the Democrats will allow the country to implode so that they can blame
Yeah.
the Republicans.
They do it all the time.
Okay.
They do it all of the time.
I'm glad we agree here.
Yeah, they do it all the time,
It
man.
hardly ever happens on the show.
Nothing new. It's nothing new. They'll sabotage the government.
They don't need to sabotage anything. They just need to let it finally happen.
That's what they do, bro.
That's
They
it.
did that during they needed the BLM to create this uprising and bait Trump into commenting. Like how much of a distraction could we take as a country? We had the vid, and then we had the lockdowns, right? And then the vid, the lockdowns, then the protests.
Oh, no. The protesters were not locked down.
Right. No, they weren't locked down.
If you went to a funeral,
they came out.
You were killing your family.
Yeah.
But if you went to a protest, you were
exercising your right. Yeah. The right to protest. And we must protect that right.
Right.
Yeah. Come on, y'all.
People, look, let me just explain this in the best way freaking possible. I just broke it. Let me explain this the best way possible. I'm really upset about this COVID thing.
What's his name? You went Freddie Mercury, bro.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, damn. I do love that movie. Let me tell you something. You're going to tell a grown-ass man that as soon as he walks into a restaurant, he needs to have his mask on. As he walks through the restaurant to get to his table, he has to have his mask on. As soon as he sits down, you're allowed to take your mask off while you're eating. As soon as you get up to go pee, put your mask back on. Go to the bathroom, the most disgusting place in the restaurant. Person taking a freaking straight up dookie next to you. You're taking a piss in the urinal. You go to the thing to wash your hands. You walk back, sit down, take off that same exact mask. No COVID. I'm sorry. And then you get up to leave, put the mask back on, leave. You're telling me that makes sense to you?
Are you asking me?
Because that's what that's what happened. And it ruined my mental health for a whole.
Yeah.
My wife would probably tell you I was awake for freaking a long time because I could not fall asleep. I was like, babe, they're fucking killing us. They're killing us literally because they're destroying our minds.
Yeah.
And I couldn't deal with it because I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
After I stayed up all night watching the 4 a.m. vote dump the night of the election, and I sat there the next day. I didn't go to sleep. My wife wakes up and said, "What happened?" I'm like, well, 5 million people just voted for Biden out of nowhere.
Well, let's ask.
You just woke up and you don't know what happened. I watched it happen.
Let's ask our constitutional expert over here. How did you survive all of that?
Before this, I really tried to stay out of politics. I have my own personal beliefs.
You sure you want to get into politics?
Well, that's the beauty of running for this office is that you have to pick a party in order to run.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're elected, you can't be involved in politics.
Right.
And so Peter has always been involved in politics at his different levels, but I've always been in the background.
Peter's her husband.
And yes. And I try to stay out of it because there's a lot of things that would drive me crazy, and
it's literally what caused this podcast to start. Was everything I just went through is what caused, because I needed to get it out.
Yeah,
like literally, I just needed to get it out because I was just so fed up with everything. And so when the podcast first started, I had politicians galore coming on, and then when it started getting real. They started getting scared to come on because they didn't want to answer the questions. That's it. They didn't want to answer the questions I really had for them because I was like, let me play nice for a little bit. Let me start this podcast off right. Let me make sure that people understand what it is and what it's about. I'm here to have a conversation. I want to get your truths. I want to understand who you are as a person. And let's talk about some things and let's have a drink because I truly believe that once you share a drink with somebody, you're connected at that point. You share a drink with somebody, you're connected. It's Latinos. It's a food thing, right? That's that connection.
I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot of cultures. I think what happens though is the powers that be kind of understands that. They know that also. So the best
they
way
prevented you from happening.
Yeah, well, right. The best way to kind of create that divide so that you can kind of conquer certain groups is to create not create, but to use words like comply. Well, you're not complying. That means you're not with the rest of us.
You want to see? Have you been seeing who else doesn't comply? Kanye West deleted interview.
Oh,
let's bring that one up first.
My guy.
So I think most of us have been seeing Kanye West more and more frequently recently. I mean, he's been coming out and just saying what he believes to be
As
the truth.
we should see a lot of Kanye right now.
Look, and as we should be seeing people speaking the truth, what they perceive to be the truth. You perceive to be the truth, speak it out, because you need to get it off your chest in order to feel better. This is, again, what the podcast is all about. Kanye West is doing that. He must feel some type of way because he gave up billions and billions of dollars to he gave up a wife, beautiful wife and kids. He couldn't take it anymore. I truly believe that I truly believe he was driven to close to insanity to where he had mental health issues. I'm not saying that this is it. What I'm saying is he's finally speaking out. And I know he's not as eloquent when it comes to talking about political or issues that are plaguing our country right now as he is when it comes to rapping. I've followed, man, Kanye has been my boy for so freaking long. You guys don't understand. I would see, because I was a big Jay-Z fan, and I always look to see who produced, right? I like to see who produced that album, who produced that song. My wife will tell you, when it comes to movies, if I really like a movie, I wait to see who directed that movie. Who the hell directed this movie, and what other movie have they directed? Because I want to see those movies too. Kept seeing Kanye's name all over. I'm like, man, this guy, he's freaking killing it, man. He's doing it. He's writer, Kanye, producer, Kanye. I'm like, man. And then when he came out with his album, it was it for me. I was immediately hooked. I was playing songs that no one even knew were Kanye. They didn't know freaking Kanye songs in college. No. We're talking very early 2000s.
Thank God for Kanye for Blueprint, right?
Right, exactly.
Black Album.
But he did a podcast, the Drink Champs podcast. They removed the entire podcast because they didn't agree, they didn't perceive what he said to be appropriate for on air. Mind you, he has a song where he says, and I quote, without any of this, "You're such a fucking hoe. I love it." You can air that song. You can air any other rap song that talks about killing, murdering, raping. Eminem rapped about raping his own mom, and he was at the Super Bowl halftime show. He used the word faggot so many more damn times than anyone I've ever heard in my life. He did a Super Bowl halftime show.
You just did.
Kanye West has a episode of Drink Champs removed because they didn't agree with they didn't like what he said.
Yeah, but you can still pull Life of Pablo on YouTube Music and rock that all day.
You can listen to R. Kelly all freaking day.
You can.
The man that raped and freaking enslaved and pissed on little girls. Well, and you can listen to him all day.
I'll one up you. Harvey Weinstein, all of his movies that he
bring up
create.
The next thing, because you're jumping right into what I'm about to say. JP Morgan drops Yeezy, right? Within weeks. JP Morgan kept Jeffrey Epstein on as a client despite internal warnings. Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008. Can't even see it, but I know it was 2008. He was convicted of raping little girls. They didn't drop him until 2013.
Yeah.
5 years after he was convicted. Jeffrey Epstein was convicted. They dropped Yeezy weeks.
Don't forget the sweetheart deal he got from the Obama administration appointed Attorney General,
who also signed the warrant for Donald Trump.
Yep, Acosta. Yeah. Listen, the
people.
The manipulation that's been going on with a lot of people up at that level, it's come to a point to where we have to have the conversation, especially when you're dealing with the reason why Kanye was pretty much lynched, I would say, publicly. Whenever you mention anything about Jewish control, and I want to make sure I say it in a politically correct way, right? Because you have to be careful when you're talking about religion and also ethnicities and all those things, right? when you're talking about the folks who control Hollywood, folks who control the music industry, they all have a lot in common, which is their aligned religion that they practice. Allegedly. But when you go and you look at the names, the people who are in control, they all have that in common, especially with hip hop, right? Where you got Leo Cohen, who has been criticized for being a culture vulture and was on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and God, and actually admitted that that he was a hypocrite for signing artists that degraded women, that caught drugs, killing, all that. But he literally admitted to saying that he did it because he had to feed his family. And Kanye just reiterated what he said in saying that people are getting paid off of bitch, niggas, killing, those things. But drugs, right? That becomes anti-Semitic. So by saying that, we need to have that conversation. We really, really need to understand what is anti-Semitic and what's not anti-Semitic, because I think that people who are on that level kind of use it as a shield so that they can continue to do the things that they do, which is taking advantage of, these type of people, these artists, this music. They're the ones in control. They're signing the checks. So obviously they want that out there, right? Mm-hmm. It's profitable because, creates negativity. It breeds.
It's profitable because it's profitable.
Yeah.
Because it draws attention. Mm-hmm. That's it. The only thing that matters today is attention.
But it's also brainwashing, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it perpetuates the crime rate. It perpetuates, teen pregnancy. It perpetuates abuse. It perpetuates all of that.
The killing of our young men and women.
And all Kanye said was those things. And he said, quote, "I don't see Jewish people doing that to each other. That's not anti-Semitic. That is a statement, an observation that he made. It's not anti-Semitic. We definitely need to open up that conversation. You guys are
when Kanye agrees to finally come on,
we got to get him on.
I can promise you, Kanye, we will not take that off air. Anything he says, I just looked him up to see what
bro.
news.
We got in trouble before for saying something way less controversial.
They unloaded their clip, and we're still here.
You're right.
I just looked up Kanye West to see what news was happening. I guess he showed up at the Skechers building unannounced. He got escorted out.
Do your thing, Kanye. Everybody's scared of the truth, bro.
Go ahead. And I remember what I read earlier was his the firm that represents him said not only did they drop him, but they told everybody in Hollywood not to deal with him. I was like, well, if that doesn't further prove that what he's saying is true and what Andrew Tate is saying, listen to Andrew Tate's podcast. It's like a 5-hour long podcast with hold on, I can look it up.
5 hour?
It's like a 5-hour long. I listened to the whole it might have been 3 hours. I listened to the whole thing and it was worth every freaking second of it. No intermission. They just talked. Andrew Tate. I'm going to tell you exactly which one to look up because I'm surprised it was even still up. But he talks about a lot about the Matrix. He talked about how when they canceled him, not only did YouTube cancel him, but Uber, his bank account was closed. Venmo, Cat, like he had no access to the bank accounts that were in the United States. He had no access to his platforms that were within the United States. All he had access to was what he had over there. So he was like, Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David. BET-DAVID. It's it's only 2 hours and 45 minutes. But it's amazing. But he says they're all interlinked. All of them are interlinked. If they decide to censor you, if they decide to silence you, they're all going to do it now, except for Twitter.
Well, let me ask you this. Isn't this kind of anti-Semitic, right? When the New York City mayor was literally pulling out water hoses on the Orthodox Jews that were trying to have funerals and worship and go to a church during the pandemic. Isn't that anti-Semitic though? But yet
I think that's literally.
That's completely anti-Semitic, but yet there was no uproar over that.
So I think we can clearly see that there's some hypocrisy in the world today. And that is why I truly believe that we need to vote in the right judges. I believe in doing your research and understanding who it is that you're voting for and their platform that they stand upon. So if someone were to want to look you up and see where you stand on whatever issues or what you want to, post on your website, where should they go?
So they can go to.
So you can finally talk, because I know you couldn't talk for like the past half hour. I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So they're not really going to find any issues because again, we can't talk about specific issues.
That's so wrong. Like I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to run for politics and say I can't really talk about issues. You should just vote for me because I'm pretty.
Well, can you vote? Can you say what separates you from your opponent?
Can you say that?
We never really want to say anything negative about our opponents in judicial campaigns, but my website and Facebook page details out my experience, my qualifications, why people should vote for me. I think that that's really what's important is, when you're looking at a judge, especially the family court, it shouldn't be political. We're there for everybody who comes before the family court system. And there really aren't any issues that, would be of a political nature in the family court. Obviously different courts, that have, there's different issues, but in the family court, that really shouldn't be an issue. But my website is Kristine at KristineForFamilyCourt.com.
That's your email.
That is my email. Yeah.
I got your
KristineForFamilyCourt.com.
With a K.
Yes. Kristine with a K is my website. And we have a Facebook page. So you can like and share our Facebook page. If you have any questions or you want to talk more to me specifically, you can always reach out on either of those platforms.
I have people that message me saying, hey, I have a question for this person about their platform. Like, message them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Message them directly. Ask them. That's exactly what they're there for. They want that. They want people to give them the opportunity to stand up for what they believe in. Right. Except for judges, I guess. You can't stand up for... I still can't believe how much you guys... Because the judges always show up to like the community associations, and they all you can really say is like, go to my website. This is who I am. This is what I've done. But you can't talk about differences of opinion. You can't talk about how you feel about a certain law. You can't talk about, a court case that recently came up. That's very hard. Like that's very tough.
But I appreciate that though, because it does kind of create it does keep the balance within the system, right?
All right, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like, because if we start allowing that, then the balance kind of shifts. I do appreciate that. I do see your campaign signs out, and I know that you're an actual candidate. I did not know who you're running against until I looked it up today, and it's a black dude. It's like, oh shoot, it's a black dude that's running, right? Never knew that. Not saying that he has my vote, but the fact that I see you out there campaigning and you're out there, you're putting in the work, it shows that it's actually means something to you, and that you're just not, kind of banking on the familiarity thing, or just the fact that I am, a woman or a black male, and that means that's why you should vote for me. I don't think anybody should vote for folks who just take a vote for granted. So I appreciate the
really hard. Thank you. We've worked really hard throughout this campaign. It's been a long 9 months. I'm not stopping, certainly until November 8th comes through, but I'm really passionate about why I want to be a family court judge, the differences and the changes that I think I can make in the family court system. I'm not oblivious to the fact that I can't change everything, but I can change what happens in my courtroom and how people are treated, and how, the decisions being made based on each case that comes before me.
I can tell you, as a Democrat,
you're still a Democrat.
I've never met the other person that's running. I don't think so. I mean, that person would have to stand up and say, oh yeah, we met at blah, blah, blah. We've come across each other many times. multiple different events out in the community. And to me, that says a lot. That says a lot to me.
We got to look at those things, man. We got to
but not just that. You can't just vote for somebody because you know who they are.
No, but that's important. You're visible.
Visible is
I
important.
tell you all the time. And people are like, oh, they're friends, whatever. Oh, that's why you say that. No. I tell people all the time. I was like, yo, I see Jose out there really working, right? Being visible, being accessible to the community, right? You don't look through people, you look at them. You know what I mean? You don't separate yourself from them. Where a lot of politicians today, they kind of create that separation, that isolation. They think that they are more important than who they're representing, and that's a problem. I think that's a problem. We got to get those type of people out of office and making decisions for us, because they're not doing it for them. They're doing it for the next election,
or the title
or the benefits.
Or the benefits,
those
retirement benefits as well.
They're good. They're really good.
I didn't even know that we got paid until after I had won.
Again,
that's still to this day. I'm like, I didn't know there were benefits. I'm like, what? I was so used to community association groups of you just do the work. Let's do the work, and there is no thanking, nothing. It's just it is what it is. Do the work.
Let me ask you this: do you think
this is not?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you guys
you see this, Austin?
You guys
He's
are
another Dan.
You guys are in the public, the public arena. You work for the community, work for the public.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that politicians have to adhere to the United States of America and not be actual activists while they're working for the public?
I believe that people should act in the way that they believe is right for the greater amount of people that they represent. So if you truly believe that it is a democracy, which it's not, to represent a republic,
yeah.
Right? But when it comes to who votes for me, it's always about the most amount of people that vote for me. It's as simple as that. I mean, it could be, once it gets to the general election, it could be Republican, Democrats, Independents, Green, Tea Party, whatever the hell it is. Anyone can vote for me. I believe that everyone deserves representation. I believe that the political landscape needs true diversity.
Not just skin color, but diversity in
thought.
Okay.
So I do not want one political party controlling everything. I don't want that. I want, if it were up to me, it'd be 50-50 and they just duke it out, and you're going to have to convert one person on the other side to vote with you. Or maybe, you need to convert 51 people, or really essentially you need to convert 50 people if you're in the Senate to vote for you or vote with you. On city council, you need to get 5 people to vote on one topic that you're trying to bring up. I don't believe that if you raise your right hand and say that you're going to swear an oath to the Constitution and to the flag, that you could ever be a socialist or a communist. I don't believe that's appropriate. I don't think that's right. I just think that goes against what America is, simply put. Like, we are a nation of God-given, inalienable freedoms.
Do you think they know that, though?
They don't believe in God, so no, of course not. It's as simple as that. I got yelled at the other day by someone that said, you got to be a Republican because all you do is talk about your beliefs and you want to cram it down on our throats. And I said, hold on. This is social media. There's nothing stopping you from just scrolling on by. You don't have to listen to my dog walk talks and how I talk about freaking God and Bible verses and what I truly believe in and what I see as, a verse of the week or a verse of the day, or you ain't gotta. Keep scrolling on by. But I'm not cramming it down your throat. But I believe that this country is based on a belief in our creator. You can call it God, you can call it Allah, we can call it whatever it is. Austin over there calls it.
He's cringing right now.
Yeah, he is. I see the eyebrow.
No, it's fine.
But it is
only dying on the inside.
And In God we trust.
Mhm.
That's what it is. You
Mm.
want to change that, and they've been trying to change that for a long time.
Yeah.
Remember, at the beginning, they took God out of the school, they took the Bible out of the school, they took prayer out of the school, and then they included satanic rituals. They taught about Satanism, and they said, well, if we're gonna be
What
inclusive,
school did you go to?
you didn't learn about Satanism.
I never learned once about.
You're
Satanism.
a liar.
No, what
You
are
are
you?
a liar.
No, I'm not. Satanism?
Google it. Google
What?
it.
What?
Google
Is that,
it.
What? Did you go to Irondequoit?
So
Where'd you go?
West Irondequoit,
West-
East Irondequoit was taught Satanism.
Oh, geez,
down the
Vinci.
road.
No,
They were taught satanic beliefs,
That's some
satanic
nonsense right
beliefs,
there.
and now we got to the point where these kids, we see a 582% increase in little girls who think that they're boys, little
Vice
little
versa.
boys who think that they should cut off their pee-pee and become what they believe to be what a girl is. That's where we are.
Do you think is the society, like our people, know anything about like propaganda and
No,
how
not
it
at all. No,
infiltrates?
hell no.
No.
I was in military intelligence, dude. You don't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it coming until well after, and then you learn about it in the history books.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the majority of people there's a reason why the Nazi Party became the majority party in Germany. It was not the majority party before.
No.
Hitler had lost a couple of times before he finally won.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why people fell in line. There's a reason why they thought that the Jewish people were disgusting and they had germs and they were killing people and that they were just a
kind of like how they're doing with
Republicans.
Republicans, right? Today.
Right.
Similar?
Kind of like how they're doing with the unvaccinated for the past 2 years.
Mm.
There was a reason people got behind that, and that they hated the person who didn't get behind that to the point where they wanted them gassed and killed.
The Russian
Bolsheviks. People always say that if they were born back then, they would not have been Nazi, or would not have been letting dogs loose or spraying down freaking black people with water. They believe that that's who they would have been, right? They would have believed in love and inclusivity and equity. They believed they would have been that person. But in actuality, they're far from it. They're very far from it. And where we are right now is we're on the cusp, man. I still believe that if there's enough prayer and if there's enough returning to biblical beliefs where we treat each other, our neighbors, we treat our neighbors as ourselves, meaning we hold them accountable like we should be holding ourselves. Like we are disciplined people where we believe that the short-term wants and gains are not worth the long-term loss. That if we come back to that and we truly, truly believe that God does answer prayer, we can change this country around. It is not, I believe that God comes when he's going to come. And it's either going to be enough people turn to prayer and enough people vote in the right people and say, I want my leadership to talk like this, and I want my leadership to believe in Christ, and I want my country to go back to more towards its roots versus more towards the roots of communism, which has killed more people than anything else in the world. I truly believe that we can turn this country around. We're not at the end yet.
We're close. We're knocking on.
Guess what? If we get there, the end result is heaven.
Yeah.
The end result is God comes back and takes us to heaven, man. I'm cool with that too.
Well, I do.
I didn't let you answer that though. I forgot what the question was. That
That's okay.
The one thing that you said that I totally agree with is, the political.
Only one thing you
parties.
agree with? Dang.
No,
go ahead.
Out of everything, yeah. The political parties, power, right? Back when 9/11 happened, the Republicans had complete power, and a lot of the things that we see from the left today, they were definitely participating in by isolating, Muslims, and
the Patriot Act was done by
Republicans.
Republicans.
I mean, the whole 9/11 inside job was Republicans.
Allegedly.
So let's not get it. Let's not exonerate the right on some of the atrocities that they have within their history. So we have to really learn how to hold our politicians accountable and not sit there and just regurgitate the propaganda they put, because Do you know how many times we heard 9/11 terrorists, 9/11 September 11th terrorists, Osama bin Laden,
World Trade Center.
I mean, those are
passport flying out of the middle of the air of a burning plane.
Sounds very similar to extremists, racist extremists, far right extremists.
Yeah,
you know,
it all comes back around.
We got to be careful, y'all, and not be like, yo, stop being in your feelings, folks. Like, please.
But maybe what you're saying is what we feel right now was how maybe the Democrats felt back then. Maybe we needed Obama to kind of counterbalance what we went through with the whole 9/11 thing.
No, we didn't need Obama.
Okay, well, maybe the Democrats felt that way.
I think with Obama, he did what he was supposed to do.
Yes, of course he did.
He shifted.
He's why we have Biden today.
Yes, exactly why we have Biden, but he's also why we have the political atmosphere that we have today as well, because he literally shifted that target of racism, right? Oh, they don't vote for me because I'm black, and they don't vote for me because they're.
That's what blows me away. If we're such a racist country, how the hell did we get a black president?
How did you get in office, bro?
Right there, that's it, right there. Yeah. We had the black leader of the greatest country on earth.
But I think it will backfire. You want to know why?
What will backfire?
Because, well, that type of you know, what Obama was doing, right? And just trying to label everybody on the right as racist.
Obama wasn't the only one.
Well, he wasn't. But within that party, right?
Uh-huh.
I firmly believe that if the Republicans had a black candidate, they will vote for him more now.
Herschel Walker.
On that elite level, right? Mm-hmm. Like Herschel Walker would never be president. I mean,
I don't think he's going to win this election.
I mean, you're right. But I hope he does. I hope he does for his sake. You know what I mean? It would be a great win for him.
He's kind of.
But that would destroy every single attack from the left.
No, it wouldn't.
I think so.
Ben Carson.
Well,
Ben Carson.
But you know what happened though is that it kind of was like reverse racism. They would try and attack the black man and say that he's a sellout, right? That's how they will attack him. But right. I don't think it would work anymore. I think you know that they develop a counter to that now.
Let me tell you what the Republicans need in order to become who they believe they should be. They need a prominent Latino who can span across all, meaning not Ted Cruz,
not Marco Rubio,
no, none of those, and not freaking what's that guy's name that kissed the dude on MTV? The most well-known Latino in the world.
Oh, Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Oh,
not Bad Bunny either.
I'll vote for Bad Bunny. It's my dude right there. La Casion, bro.
Oh my God.
Stop it, man.
Oh my God. What they need is, and what both parties are really striving for, and I guarantee Latinos are striving for it, but they just can't quite get it because Latinx just doesn't make sense, is that Latinx, right? They both need a high profile Latino who can actually speak eloquently, which most of us can, who can cross the racial divide, which most of us can.
Not those politicians in LA, though.
No. Yeah, probably won't come. It probably won't come from New York. It probably won't come from California. It probably won't come from maybe
Texas, bro. They come from Texas.
It's going to be someone from Texas.
But he's going to look white.
It's not going to be Beto. Are you saying Beto O'Rourke?
He's going to look white.
No,
he's going to have a white wife.
No.
But he's going to be able to, he's going to have that Obama swag.
Yeah, he's got, that's
he's
all.
He's going to have that Obama swag.
It factor. And there's so many politicians are just lacking it. They're so lacking. They're so blah. They're so dull. They're just, right. They're white.
No, they're whack.
Oh, they said they're white. I'm like, whack. No, they're whack and they're just boring.
We need more young bloods, man. Get these
not
old people.
Even young bloods.
We gotta get these old politicians.
You need a personality that the people, that every race, that every creed, that every political spectrum can just say, you know what? I I like his swag. That's it. I just like who he is. That's how it was with Obama. I like the swag, man.
He turned on.
Like
He turned on that voice. You know, when he was talking to the black folks, he turned into Martin Luther King real quick. Everybody,
hey,
welcome everybody. Thank you, everybody.
So what you need is exactly that. Because what we need is an independent party to step up.
Yeah.
And they just don't have it. We don't have it in this country. We don't have an independent party. But I think it again, and this is again, every freaking big time election, I always say, if you don't know who to vote for, vote the independent. I'm not trying to give you credence here. I'm not trying to tell my people who to vote for here. I mean, but you are the only judge that came on the show. I did ask some other judges who were Democrats to come on. None of them even freaking responded, mind you. But if we continue to vote independent, they'll start to see that, okay, there's a tidal wave here, because you can't just change your freaking you can't just say, hey, I'm an independent now, stop sending me freaking stuff in the mail. No, you have to be an independent voter and runner. You have to be an independent candidate, and you have to have people that vote independent. You got to have people that vote independent, because there's a lot of Republicans that just turned independent because they don't want to deal with people saying, oh, you're a Republican, you're disgusting. Got a lot of Democrats that changed from Democrat to independent just because they're like, I'm just not a far left freaking guy. I'm just a middle of the road guy.
Yeah.
It's just, that's where we are in a country where there's a lot of independents. Is that erroneous?
No, I agree. Right now there's not an independence party in New York,
right,
but they're blanks.
They're blank
and
voters,
there
right?
Are a significant number of blanks.
What was like 18% or something like that?
It's a big number.
It's a big number that can sway the election. For Singletary's election, I know. I saw the last poll, and it was a Democratic poll.
He's right up there.
He's right there, man. He's right there with Joe Morelli, and I'm saying within 3 or 4 points, I believe it was. And the undecided vote was 18%. That's where I got the 18% wrong. Undecided vote was 18%. So if, Morelli had 43% and, he had 39%, whatever it was, 18% said, we don't know who we're going to vote for. And he was only down by 4%.
There could be a tidal wave. I'm independent, and I'm just telling you, I'm voting for. I
honestly had no idea what your political affiliation was. I had zero. How long have we had this podcast for?
Oh, like a year and a half.
What episode are we on? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I had zero idea what his political affiliation was.
1% independent.
All right.
That voted for Obama the first time until I watched Zeitgeist, and that was it.
That's a good movie.
That was it.
I'll tell you who I voted. I'll tell you who my favorite person that I ever voted for was. Ron Paul.
That was a good vote. I voted for him the second time.
I voted for Ron Paul.
Totally voted for him the second
twice.
Time. Oh, good job. I should have voted for him the first time.
But New York is just, we're not going to turn independent.
No.
That's a damn shame, because if we can get a third party in New York, that would change the landscape. If we can get a third party in New York, that'll change the landscape. We can finally become, all right, look, maybe we're not so divided. We can become independent. We can say, look, we can cross. That's all. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I look for in a politician. Say, look, dude, or girl, hey, girl, talk to me in a way that, like, I'm a normal damn person. Stop talking to me like a fucking politician. Answer my questions directly. Not saying anything about judges out there. It's nothing against you. Again, all judges. I've had this conversation with all judges. They just can't answer the questions that, as much as we want them to answer, they can't.
I know.
It's illegal.
I want to ask this question. I mean, it's, racist seems like the only thing we talk about nowadays, which I don't really care what color you are. Just do the job. Right. Like within just the court system.
Well, some people believe they're doing their job the way they were elected to, including socialist Democrats.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
So you can't say do the job. Some people believe they are doing the job. They believe they're doing a job that they were elected to do.
I guess. But within just our society today, everything is about equality and balance within just every freaking thing we do. Is there a need for that within our local judicial system here? Do you think that it is diverse? Do you think we can kind of, pat ourselves on the back for having some diversity in this town?
Is there a good sway of Republican, Democrat
Not even
judges?
just not even just the political affiliation, just overall, like men,
Well,
women, black,
think of,
white.
I think of
Latino.
ideology. I think you can be a black or woman, and you can think the same exact way. I think you can be black or white. I'm sorry, black or white, think the same way. You could be a man or woman and think the same way. That's why I say Republican and Democrat, because you tend not to think the same way.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, is it important though for that to have that,
diversity, inclusion?
Yeah, I think diversity is important in everything, and I think we can always do better. Right? I mean, we need to have people that we need to have role models for everybody, and that looks different for whoever you are.
But why can't we just let the market decide?
That's what voting is.
Right. Let the market decide.
That's what voting is.
In office, right?
The market is deciding that they want to go towards socialism.
Fuck. We're screwed.
We're gonna end it on that positive note, because John Leguizamo is a socialist. That freaking bastard.
Yes, he is. Well, he's Hollywood, man. They're all socialists. They all
Southern
Believe
California.
in equality,
right? And he stayed in California. You see all these Hollywood people were coming out and saying, you know what, I'm Democrat, but I can't stay in freaking Hollywood, or I'm Democrat, but these taxes are killing me.
Yeah.
So John Leguizamo, stop being a pussy ass bitch and call me. All right. Still waiting for your return call. Kanye, you're kind of a little busy right now, but I still expect a return phone call, as I have loved you from the beginning, and I support Kanye 100%. Let him be crazy. Let him talk his nonsense. Let him what you believe to be nonsense. What I believe is sometimes someone is so far above and beyond that you can't even fathom the mentality that they have. And I really truly believe that Kanye, if he focuses, I think that's his thing. He lacks focus. He needs to bring that back. Bring back the focus, and he won't be president. He's not going to run for politics. I can tell you that. But he can change a lot of things.
I think he wants people to think he's crazy.
I believe so as well, because he can sell a lot of things on his own with direct to consumer versus he bought a lot of manufacturing companies in California.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Kanye. He bought manufacturing companies in California, knowing that Adidas and Gap was going to drop him. He said, I'm going to create my own product. He actually dropped off a butt ton of White Lives Matter shirts to the homeless people in, I believe, San Francisco. He's going to manufacture his own product. He's going to go direct to consumer. He's going to make 80% margin at least on every product. And he's not going to need another name brand to show that.
Yeah, good for
he
that
was
little
selling.
black
He
boy,
was selling $350 sneakers that looked like swirls of freaking chocolate syrup on top of ice cream.
Yo, listen. How about this?
She knows because she's bought freaking Planet.
This is how. Wait, before we go, this is how dope this country is, right? This is how dope this country. A black rapper, right?
He's not a rapper. Artist,
right?
Thank you.
A black hip hop artist who started making beats for other artists
and lyrics,
became a billionaire, right? And then the negative knock on him was how he lost a deal and he's no longer a billionaire. He's now a millionaire. How?
Hundreds of millionaires.
Right. He lost 200 something million. Now his net worth is only 500 million. Holy
I guarantee
shit.
you, I'm pretty sure you're right that what he's going to end up doing is going direct to consumer. He's going to skip that middleman. Yeah. He's going to get 90-something% of that markup. It's all going to be his. And he's going to say, haha, F you.
Bro, he can literally sell his music.
Will you stop buying Yeezys if he were to go off his own and start selling it directly to consumer?
He can sell it straight.
She's not going to stop.
I'm still going to buy it.
Exactly. Yeah. She's not going to stop buying
Bro, he can sell his
he said he wants his sneakers to be $20,
bro. Yeah, he
said I want my sneakers to be $20 and I want homes to be $10,000. That's why he bought all that land in Montana.
Yeah.
Because he literally created like a bunch of different hut homes and said, this is going to be the future evolution of homes. People are going to own their home. It's going to only cost them $10,000. That's what he was doing. The entire time was he buying up freaking land and buying up manufacturing. I'm looking at the flag. Buying up land and buying up manufacturing. Man, Kanye is well above. You don't even know what he's going to do.
Racist country, huh?
You have no idea what Kanye is going to do. Everyone's stupid.
This
I love
country
Kanye.
is so racist.
I'm well. man.
We're so racist, this country. So racist.
Keep doing you, kind of. Keep doing you. And thank you very much, Kristine, for coming on and dealing with our nonsense for 2 hours almost.
We did it again, huh?
We did it again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate all
thanks for
who
coming.
stayed on this entire time.
Good luck.
There was probably questions in there. I'm sorry we didn't even get to it.
Yeah, our crew.
Jose, the market is deciding we're doing socialism. Laveau. Fuck. Tom Morgan. My favorite vote was Jose.
You're right.
That's right, Gino.
Gino. That's the man right there.
My favorite vote was Ross Perot. Hey, my favorite vote was Jose Pio as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Go Ohio State. Elton Lewis.
The news was
rocking
out
it.
there looking
Right,
like watching me walk up to freaking vote and stuff like that.
What did I say? Please don't wear those.
Please don't wear those sunglasses next week. Yeah, for real.
I'm bringing
Thank you,
them
Gino.
right back for you.
Yo,
Let's get
shout out
some
to
red
Gino.
ones.
I did the hashtag 41 challenge. Gino, he donated some money, and we had a part of that event last week. They did a lot for the community last week.
Gino's a good guy. Gino's a real good guy. He's a real
and he's
good guy.
really good at freaking bowling and darts. Man.
Didn't he just throw a 300 game?
Yeah,
And he did it like it was nothing.
it wasn't his first time. And then his thing was, oh, my dad did like 15 times, so it's nothing. I'm like, shut up, dude.
Get out of here.
Extra. Shout out to Gino Free. Dude, I'm still waiting for my invite to go have a drink. We're going to celebrate that. You can't just bowl a 300 and think it's nothing, dude. I'm happy when I bowl 100. 100. Babe, how bad am I bowling?
I'm better than you.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. She's a liar.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't, dismiss it. Like I've seen some women bowlers that would mop you. I know some female bowlers that would mop you.
You know what? This is what we're going to do. There's a bowling company that we have yet to go to. We were supposed to go to before.
Yeah.
It is in my district. Dom's Bowling, DOMM. It's on Westridge Road. It's in that plaza where the Bathtub Billies used to be.
Really? Oh, yeah, I know you.
Whoever wants to go bowling, let's say in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, let's go bowling.
Yeah.
You want to go bowling? Let's go bowling. Let us know. You know what we're going to do? November 5th. Is that a good date? Let's see.
It's a great day.
Yes.
November 5th. It's a Saturday. Let's go bowling.
Let's go bowling. Come out with the crew.
Come out with us.
Yeah.
You got to message me so I can make sure we reserve the right amount. We'll go at like what, 8 p.m.?
Yes.
Ooh, late night.
Dude, what are you going to?
I'm old, man. Bedtime's 9.
No, 8 p.m. because that's appropriate. Like, no, actually, you might be right. 6 p.m. might be the appropriate drinking and bowling time.
So 7 p.m.
Perfect. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. at Dom's Bowling Alley. Let me know if you want to go there. We're gonna go there. Gino, you're not allowed to bowl.
Gino is
Unless you're on my team.
No, Gino is definitely allowed to bowl because
he's on
we
my team.
need somebody that's gonna literally create that competition. You need somebody that's better than everybody.
I honestly just want to see it.
I mean,
That's what she said. I want to see him bowl. I want to see how you get that many damn strikes in a row. Like, that's crazy to me.
I've
Gino,
come close.
Bring your boys out too.
I've had 6 in a row before. 7.
You're
yes.
lying. You're
I
a
used to
liar.
bowl listen, I used to bowl in the
You're
league,
lying.
man. Elks Club.
Let's see if that can ever happen again.
Oh, probably not by November 5th, but
You better start freaking practicing.
I need a lot.
November 5th, that's the weekend right before the elections. So you're definitely gonna be like busy as hell, I'm guessing.
Probably.
All right.
But
Well,
if we
more
can
than
make it,
likely.
we'll be there.
all right, cool. Let us know. Message us. Don't comment down below. Oh, we already got
I'm
a
in.
bunch of
Here
them.
we go.
Already,
We're
here we
all
go.
in.
You're all in. It don't say can that come.
Tom, bring it. Tom's there.
One of the brothers at Dom's has a 900 series. I don't know what that means.
That means
you know?
he bowled 3 straight 300
Oh.
games, bro.
No,
3 straight.
he's not.
You can
allowed.
only come if you're bowling. That's it. And we're not talking politics.
That's
FYI, we're not talking politics.
That's
We're there strictly for fun. That is it. I don't want to hear about nothing else, but let's have bowling fun.
Let's talk about the New York Jets.
Let's talk about Geno Smith from them Jets.
Right, exactly.
Austin, hit that funky music.